Hello everyone. I have a quick project today. It would be great for gifts with the gift giving season coming up here. This is a variation of the pocket pages that I did for a Inspiration Conspiracy video hop that Shannon Green hosted a couple years ago. And this is the book that I did in the hop. It is a pocket page made from scrapbook paper, and I will put the link for that video in the description box below so you can see how those pages were made. They are just pocket pages, and they're put together in a candy box cover with just a rubber band. And that's what I'm kind of going to do today with some little signatures. So Vicki Brown, our Vicki Brown, decided that she wanted to make her pocket pages a little bit smaller, so she cut her scrapbook paper in half. And so she had a piece of paper that was 12 inches by 6 inches, and she folded the paper just like the large sheet, the regular sheet of scrapbook paper, and she came up with these little tiny, like 3-inch square pages, and I just thought that they were adorable. So I made one with the little pages like that, and thought that that would be really fun to show how to do this. But I decided to do one more step, one more little bit of a variation, and I painted up some book pages. So I did some random book pages, and I colored them, or I painted them on both sides, because the way you fold it, you end up with seeing both sides. So we're going to fold one of these pages, and it's just like the big scrapbook paper pages. I'm going to use a bone folder. I'm going to fold it in half the long way here, and I am going to go from the center out to the outside, and that makes sure that my corners stay where they're supposed to stay. And then I am going to take the ends of the paper and fold them almost to the center, maybe not quite a 1/4 inch, but a little bit more than 1/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to fold them that way. Now I'm going to open it up, and I am going to fold it in half the long ways here. And open it up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to dog ear. I'm going to fold down all 4 corners almost to the fold there, but not quite. You don't want your fold all filled up with paper. You want your fold to be a little bit, it's easier to fold it together when there's not a lot of paper inside the fold. And then you want to fold those little tabs on the inside, just like that. Flip it over and fold it in half, just like that. And I'm going to use a bone folder, make sure my folds are nice and creased. And then I am going to just use a little bit of glue stick for this little tiny project. And I am going to just put a line of glue, and you can use tacky glue or any kind of glue that you want to use, just along the edge right there, and put those together. You want to make sure you've got quite a bit of glue on the corners here, because those are your stress points, and you want to make sure that your pages don't come apart. So then you have your pocket page, a little mini pocket page. So I thought that that was pretty cute. And so I made a few more of them, and I've got 5 here, these little pocket pages with the random circles. And I thought I would show how to put together a cover for this. So I did get another piece of the book page that I had painted, and I randomly put a few circles on it so it would match the pages on the inside. And I have a piece of cardboard here. I did cut this already. Not all book pages are the same size, so I measure the width of my page, and it is about 2¼ inches. So I want to make my cover 2 times the width, which is 4½. And then I want to add the spine. So I put my pages together here and decide how big the spine should be. And it is, oh, it is about 1 inch, maybe just a little bit more than 1 inch. So we have 4½, and 1 inch is 5½. And you want a little bit of a lip on the outside of your book. So you want to add maybe 1/4 inch for that. Maybe just a little bit less than 1/4 inch. So what I have is 4½ inches for each page, and 1 inch spine, and just a little bit more, which makes mine, I think it's a little less than 6 inches wide. And then my pages are about 3 inches tall. So I want to make my cover just a little bit larger so that the pages will be all tucked in to the cover, all nice and tidy. So I made mine just a little bit more than 3 inches tall. So then I go ahead and measure where I need to make my spine, my cover pages, and I am going to mark 2¼ just a little bit more, maybe a 2¼ and a little less than 1/8. 2. And I'm going to measure it down here as well. And then I'm going to measure it on the other side for the other side of the cover. And then I am going to line up those 2 marks that I made. And score it really well so it will fold exactly. And I'm just going to use the ruler to kind of bend the fold along there to make sure it folds where I want it to fold. And I'm going to fold it all the way down just to make sure that it's exactly where I want it to be and that it will fold well. And then I want to do the same thing on the other side. Score it. And fold. And make sure it bends real well. You can do all these pieces in separate pieces, but this is a pretty thin cardboard, so it should be just fine. So I want my piece of paper that I'm going to cover this with to be pretty well over, you want a lot of space around it. I am going to just chop off this little bit here to put in the center. Right there, so when I fold it in, it will, and I'm just using a glue stick just to make it fast and easy. So I'm just going to put some glue stick there and glue that right in the center and fold it. I probably should have made sure that my pages would fit nicely in there before I go much further. And they do. They do. Okay, so I want to make sure my circles are on the outside. And I am going to just cut the corners off of this paper. And I'm not measuring, I'm just cutting off those corners. Just so there's not a lot of bulk in the corners when I go to put this together. So I am going to put a bunch of glue on the spine here and on the rest of the cover to make sure my piece of paper is glued well to the cover. And I am going to fold that while it's wet. Fold that side as well. And then I am going to glue, I'm gluing on the cardboard. You can glue on the paper or both. And I'm going to do the top first, and I'm going to pull down the paper over the cardboard so it's nice and secure. And I'm going to do that with the bottom as well. Make sure I get plenty of glue in there. And this does work with wet glue as well, but for quickness, I thought I'd do glue stick. And it's a small project. It doesn't need a lot of glue. And while it is still wet, I am going to fold the cover to make sure it is going to bend when it dries. And you want to make sure, get my bone folder here, flatten that out. Doesn't want to flatten. I want to make sure that that's glue on the edges there. You want to make sure that you let the book dry, the cover dry, bent while it's still wet. You want to make sure that you fold those pages so that your paper won't crack when it's dry. If it's wet, the paper can stretch over the cover and it won't crack. So I always make sure I bend really, really well. Okay? And then I'm going to do the ends here. Putting some glue on the cardboard, maybe a little bit on the paper. And I am going to pull that paper against the cardboard. Make sure my little corners are in. This corner doesn't want to go in. Here we go. And the same thing with the other side as well. Fold the paper over the edge of the cardboard and pull it down. I'm trying to get those corners in just a little bit more. Go. That one won't go in. My fingers have glue on them, so it's not helping. Go in. Okay. Make sure that's all burnished down really well and that it bends. And there is the cover, just like that. Okay. Now, a lot of times I will not put the centerpiece in the center like that, and I'll put a piece over the top. It would look a little bit better. This doesn't look quite right, so I might change that up in the future and put another piece of paper on there when I've got a piece of painted paper, but it's fine for now. So I've got my pages, and I'm ready to put them in the book. And I am just going to use these little pink hair bands. Put the hairband over the page and then over the cover, just like that, just so I can move them around if I want to. It's just a quick and easy way to make a book. And I'm going to do that. Each one of my pages is just going to have one band to it. You can put more than one page with your bands, but I thought it would be cute with them each having their own. And I usually do wait for my cover to dry before I start doing this, but I want you to see what it looks like all finished. And make sure all the bands are on the spine and they're not too tight. You can collapse your spine if your rubber bands or your bands that you're using are too tight. You can also reinforce the spine a little bit with another piece of cardboard if you are having problems with that. So there is the little book with the hair bands and each of the pages. There's a bone folder. In each of my pages, there's a little space here to put something, and each page has some pockets that you can add little bits of fun stuff. In this one, I've got all that kind of store-bought ephemera that we all buy, some plastic little bits, some stickers, some photos, those things that we buy and just never know exactly what to do with. Those little bits of the scrapbook paper that come in. Here's a tag. The little bits that you cut off in your scrapbook papers, you just never know what to do with. You can fill those pockets with just little bits of fun stuff, tickets and all kinds of ephemera and pictures, and have fun with the tags and have fun putting stuff into the pockets. So that is a quick little project for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, you can comment. So, I hope this helps. I hope this would be a fun little gift to give, and it's really quite fast. Thanks for watching.